You have Vanskor, Illidan, BZZG. Belial, someone that disappeared for a while, but has kind of burst back in and been like, guys, how the hell could you have forgotten about me? I am brutal to deal with. It feels like a game of experience meets youth right now.
Yeah, I am always interested to see Arc play because he's had kind of a storied career. He's played on European stacks. He's been to Southeast Asia and played on Mineski. He's played on Russian stacks, Spartak. Now on FlyToMoon. I always had a "the" in there. FlyToMoon. Sorry, my apologies. Arc has been around. He brings this kind of almost wealth of culture to a CIS stack that a lot of players do not bring. But you're absolutely right. With Slayer, Always Want to Fly, and Iceberg there, they've definitely got that kind of stalwart, known stack of 3 players that most certainly should tie the team together as long as they can keep tabs on these new upstarts, these pub stars that they've got under their belt right now.
Definitely flow is the variable, the unmeasured quantity to us, the viewers. But of course, when we talk about these people, are unmeasured quantity, like they're going to come out, the pub stars, they came out of nowhere, they'll surprise you all. You got to remember, these players play each other regularly in their matchmaking, right? So while to an average viewer, they might not know what to expect from Flow, Vanskor might straight away go, yeah, he spams this hero and that hero. I've dealt with this guy all the time. He doesn't do this right, he doesn't do that right.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure what the situation with Flow is right now. I remember diagnosed with cancer, and there was a GoFundMe around it. I'm not sure what his situation or diagnosis is now, but it's good to see him back playing Dota 2. I feel like potentially he's in remission and he's okay, but I don't know the details. But seeing him back in action is always a wonderful thing. Modern medicine doing beautiful things for Dota 2.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a guy that's been lurking around for a long time. Started out, 2015, I think it was? But, he had a few big moments. I think he was like a sub for Empire at one point. But he hasn't really had that big highlighted team within the CIS region, right? Yes, he's been on Vega at one point, but not when they're at the highest. It's not like he was on VP for a run, or, he was on the Power Rangers when they were back at the top 4.
Yeah, he's very much been on these. I almost want to call them academy teams. You think of how Vega are now. How Vega, they're 2 kind of A and B teams. Double Dimension always felt like a second string, almost academy team to a number of CIS teams. They get players poached nonstop. Flow has been on a lot of those stacks and mixes where there have been a couple of very exceptional players, but he's never had a chance to stand out. Maybe now is his time. Let's take a look at this draft as it develops on through. Team Spirit with a Silencer and a Spirit Breaker opener. That's a tasty one.
Oh, yeah. Gives you that easy kind of follow-through on the ganks, I guess you could say, right? Because you just jump in with Spirit Breaker, they turn up at the fight, insta-silence, and you just go wailing at them. We're not going to see the IO coming in, though, because actually Team Spirit banned that out themselves. Nor the Ember. It's kind of interesting watching the fact they just picked a Spirit Breaker, and now they're the ones removing heroes that would actually sync up well with that hero.
Yeah, I think they're lining up for a Storm pick or something along those lines. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see an anti-mage ban here into 4th pick Storm, maybe 3rd pick something like a Centaur and head into that heavy mobility hero afterwards. Definitely some kind of maneuverability, right?
Yeah, no, that's fair shout as well, because actually Ember won the better counters to Storm Spear on the lane. And beyond, in fact, because you tend to build a 1-level lead, I want to say, by 6 or 7. And even if you're a Storm that has your Ball Lightning 6, let's face facts, level 1 Ball Lightning is quite terrible.
Treant ban.
That is a bit more peculiar. Then again, Storm, once more, it's a route. It's a way of maybe locking it down. I'm buying this Storm narrative. Yeah. It's a fair one by you, Gareth.
Yeah. You go down the rail track. Just keep on chugging along. That's an interesting. Treant stalls out games. He heals towers. He's not really an exceptionally synergistic hero with Mars or Shadow Demon, I don't feel. So it's interesting to see them. Maybe it's something they've seen in scrims. Maybe this is one of those heroes that they've been picking up for Slayer or something like that, which has been irritating in scrims.
Yeah, and it's not like FlyToMoon had room for the infamous Phoenix Treant combo either with the Shadow Demon already on the board, so that wasn't likely to happen. Yeah, it must be something they've seen in scrims, just a flavor pick for Team Spirit, maybe.
Yeah. FlyToMoon did play Treant twice in the open qualifiers. Worth pointing out, Team Spirit an invited team and FlyToMoon qualifier team.
So they were running sitting there with popcorn watching them and going, yep.
Yeah. Or they've opened up the Dota buff. like I've done and gone, oh, hey, look, Shadow Demon, Darkseer, Treant. They've opened up quite often in their first couple of picks and bans.
I was trying to make like analysis of teams sound hard here, Gareth. I was doing you a favor. I was doing coaches a favor. But now everyone's just going to try and take. Good job.
Guys, that's all casters do. We have Dota Buff open and we look at the heroes that they picked in their last 10 games.
To be honest, if you are in the CIS region, you too can be a coach. Half these teams just use their best friend as coaches, I've noticed. I literally asked one team, I was like, I've never heard of your coach before. It's like, he's my good friend from childhood. I was like, what? So, like, is that it? It's like, yeah. So it's like, did you hire a yes man? He's like, yep. Like, okay.
That's one of the interesting things, though, right? Is that sometimes you don't necessarily want someone who fully understands Dota or the kind of depth of Dota.
That's true.
For analysts, like for actual like gameplay coaches, yes, you do. But for analysts, you don't necessarily need to. You need someone who can run the numbers and give you the stats and the breakdowns of things. But you think about Liquid, Liquid's manager. He never played Dota. He was Kuroki's friend, and they brought him in to be their manager, right? He like knew very little about it, but it's the personality and the kind of aura or culture that they can bring to the team that is sometimes something you look to more than actual game skill or knowledge.
That's the thing. It's like, you as a pro player should know the game quite well. There's an argument for different kind of coaches. With esports getting so big, I could see teams in the next few years starting to pick up, a psychological coach, right? Yeah. As well as like a former pro player. And you could have 2 or 3 roles in a team. I think the other interesting thing I heard said, it's interesting you said like bringing in someone that doesn't know Dota. Because I remember I was talking to someone. I won't reveal them. I won't reveal their strategies too much. But they said they talked to one person, talked to a League of Legends player. The League of Legends player, he doesn't know anything about Dota. He went, why is the map not symmetrical? And like someone went pop in their head, the coach's head. They're like, oh my God. Yes. Because it makes you think about the whole, it's like the map isn't symmetrical, which means plays on different sides of the map have different results. And like, things like maybe it's easier to gank towards mid from one side than the other. It just, light bulbs go off in your heads, right? Because to the average watcher, it's like, that guy doesn't know Dota, he's saying the obvious things. But to someone more advanced, sometimes it helps to just hang out with the dumb people because you realize something genius.
Well, that's the thing. So many things not just in Dota, but so many things we take for granted in general, and it takes that kind of stupid. That's always the reason why we have that quote. There is no such thing as a stupid question, only stupid answers, because any question can potentially unlock a series of other questions, which leads you to the question, the answer, which you've been looking for your entire life or your entire Dota career. And following on from your train of thought, I think that utilization of terrain in the map is something that we've only really looked at in depth or properly, analysis wise in the past 2 years. We used to kind of pass things off as radiant advantage, a dire advantage, and that was literally just where the Roshan pit was. That was our entirety. That was the entirety of the analysis around terrain and map control and things like that was Roshan, radiant advantage, lol, dire advantage, lol. Now it's very much, taking the plateaus, looking towards radiant jungle, making mirror movements, using ramps, using vision, double wards, triple wards to control these ramps, to control these high ground areas, to utilize the western side of the map for Roshan, the dead lane, bottom lane, if you're dire team, pushing that out to take people away from Roshan. And you have all of these kind of ebbs and flows, backs and forths, where because of analysis and because of different perspectives coming into the game, new players that don't take things for granted and aren't locked into these paradigms of, hey, we push this tower because we've always done it. Now we're having defenses of these towers which were previously undefendable, coming out with surprise attacks and all this good stuff. It's just such a dynamic game that you need that fresh, new, crisp, clean perspective on things just to unlock new avenues.
And a hero that can shift avenues, block them off even, has appeared in the draft. Shaker, it's kind of a preview into the things you're mentioning. It's this type of hero that changes the terrain you play on. And that's one big thing that's actually changed, I feel like, in the last year or so since Pangolier arrived, right? People started looking at choke points more and terrain manipulation.
Yeah.
It was something we always knew. It's something we always done with like Shaker, like blocking creep waves has been a thing for a few years. But it's realizing the true impact that has. Mars, another hero that can just adjust and tweak that and use certain points against you, right? Like if you get pinned up against a natural wall because of the arena.
No, exactly. You think about, so my point comes back to 2 years ago, you think about the 4-staff meta, right? Where everyone and their mums was buying 4-staff a year and a half, 2 years ago because of that displacement ability. It was key. Disruptor. Mars now, the Rubik, these displacement heroes that can kind of manipulate heroes or manipulate creep waves or change the flow of how a team fight's going by literally picking you up and moving you to a different position, completely destroys any semblance of cohesion or planning going into team fights that you had. Kunkka, yet another one. He can grab, he can catch, he can kill, but he can displace, which is also incredibly important against Spirit Breaker, Earthshaker, and also Wraith King, who has that secondary life to allow him to waddle on out of team fights potentially.
I like it as well because what they've essentially done is they've kind of weathered themselves against the attrition of Team Spirit's lineup, right? Like Wraith King reincarnating, buying you more time. Look at FlyToMoon. You've got this boat buff that comes out. You've got the Troll who can clutch save himself with the Battle Trance. And you've got a save on the Shadow Demon with the Disruption. And it should be pointed out, that can be used very aggressively. Like right now, you actually look around that. It's not just the sustain FlyToMoon have with this farm pick. It's even more set up for the Mars to spear someone, right? You've got Disruption. You've got the X drawback. You've got slows. You've got stuns. Exactly. There is so much to work with here. And I think Team Spirit read this right. This Wraith King is going to die. So you might as well have a carry that can come back a second life because he's going to need it in this type of game.
I'm wondering if Storm is still good here because Soulbind, Spear, X-Mark, Torrent, there are ways of catching him. But you need someone who can stab backline with the Spirit Breaker. Earthshaker is going to be the Fog hero. Looking for that Blink Initiation. Spirit Breaker is the guy who literally charges in, makes that play aggressively. Oh, they go with Medusa. So they don't go for that super mobile hero. G on the Medusa.
I think this might be a quick blink from Wraith King in this type of game. It feels like Radiance is too greedy now. Like, when you draft a Medusa, you're basically submitting that she wants half of the map. Which is kind of depressing if you're playing the other roles, but Wraith King is that type of hero that can have that flex, right? He can be this farmer with Radiance, or he can go aggressive like Armlet, Blink Dagger. It's just a matter of if you're that guy doing all that physical damage, you're up against a Mars, a Troll as well. This is... I feel like Team Spirit just kind of baited themselves on the draft, if that makes sense, right? Like, they've trapped themselves in a way of playing their lineup.
Yeah. So, they do have something exceptionally good, which is two very tanky frontline heroes that set up for the counter initiation of BZZ and Vanscore to be able to jump in and have that kind of flip in the team fight with Echo Slam and Global Silence. There's no way for FlyToMoon right now to actually dispel off the Global. So the save you get from the Shadow Demon, the Soulbind combo you get with the Kunkka or the SD with double X or double Disruption, potentially going to be delayed. But I think the most important thing is going to be Arc's BKB timing, because you need to get that Battle Trance off, and Global Silence absolutely ruins you in that kind of position. But FlyToMoon, their damage output is pretty intense. Not just in team fights, but in the laning stage with Shadow Poison, with Stroke of Fate, Spear. They've got a lot of chip and harass damage, while Team Spirit don't have that. They need more time. Team Spirit need time in this game to get Medusa and Wraith King to a point at which 20, 25 minutes in, they can walk towards objectives, play as 5, and take objectives one by one and try and force team fights around them and play systematically. But if you're playing systematically, you need your laning phase to go well, I feel like.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Team Spirit in this drafting.
I mean, it's kind of like we said in the previous game that we cast. They were too aggressive, too reliant on their lanes going well. Now it's kind of like the start of the draft. Like, this is very aggressive. And you get to the end and you see this Medusa. It's like, yes, this hero ramps up quicker than it used to. By miles compared to the old Medusa. But I don't think it's going to ramp up quick enough. I think there's a concern that even if G gets a good start, if he goes for a mana pool based build instead of a physical damage based build, like heavily like Daedalus, etc., I think he kind of loses himself the game, because I could already see what's going to happen. It's like Troll's going to rush a Diffusal, and then you're screwed if you go for that mana build, right? Like, that matchup is very volatile. I feel like the matchup to watch in this game is going to be Troll and Medusa in these team fights as you get past like the 25-minute mark. Which most people are like, no duh, Pigeon. That's how carries work, right? But this is one of those games where whoever takes a slight lead between those two, it should be completely decisive in the outcome of the game, right?
Yeah, is this a Diffusal Blade game for the Troll? It feels like it is against Wraith King Dusa, going like Diffusal Manta or Diffusal... Even just like Diffusal BKB as the Troll Warlord in this game probably suits him pretty nicely.
Like, I feel, to an extent, Team Spirit... We said that they debated themselves in the draft now. And if G does go for that mana build, I think he's just lost his team the game.
Because I feel like Iceberg can potentially here go for the, upgraded boots, bracer, maybe go for single bracer into Raddy and then Halberd.
Yeah.
Because Halberd is hyper valuable this game against Wraith King Dusa for sure. And having a Radiance against the right clicks of Dusa, Wraith King, and Skeletons also super nice. But it also adds that additional damage dealing core. You'll have the Troll who can stand up against the Dusa. You can have the Kunkka who's chasing down the supporting cast in the back lines. Mars is going to be pairing up with the Grimstroke to try and get the team fight started and going properly. And then Shadow Demon can play that safety backup little boy in the back with a disruption.
And let's not forget like what the offlaners provide in this type of game, right? The difference between these two is BCC is full in, right? He gets in, he has to have a huge impact with a good Echo Slam and straight away slam them through. If an arena fluffs from Mars, you know he's going to build his utility items, right? Like the Vlads, for example. He could potentially go for something like a Crimson Guard if his team really needed it. Shaker's not really the hero you think of that, right? You think like Blink Dagger, maybe a 4-star for Yules, and then straight Ags. Like if you have to stop off the Yules, you feel a bit rough about it, but you ultimately want to go Blink Dagger Ags. So you are all about control. You don't provide utility. And I guess the question I'm trying to get to here, Gareth, is who does really give you that utility? Because none of these heroes really are going to build those aura items, right?
Yeah, again, it's one of those things where Team Spirit, they're front foot forward. They are the ones that need to make the moves aggressively. They need not only to make the moves aggressively in the mid game, but also in the early game, because they need the laning stage to go well to get the items they need for the mid game. And that's where this becomes this massive game of Jenga, right? Where you're trying to pull a piece out, put a piece back on, and if you're doing that with a Medusa and a Wraith King, who potentially need to overlap and farm jungle if things do go poorly, all of a sudden you've got a congested jungle, you don't have enough space on the map, you're losing tier 1s. This game could very quickly slip away out of the hands of Team Spirit if things go poorly in the laning stage. But on the flip side, if they go even or better than even, if they get an advantage in the laning stage, Medusa is hard to kill in this game. So is Wraith King. They are tanky bastards. Spirit Breaker and Earthshaker, they bring that initiation and they bring that counter initiation to allow them to survive and deal their damage even longer. With the Global Silence on top, they've got the ability to reset team fights, so Mars, Troll, and Kunkka can't get that combo. Like, Silencer against Kunkka is such a sick pick because he can't get his combos off properly due to that Global Silence. So you do have answers here as Team Spirit, but they're finicky. They aren't straightforward. Here's an answer. It is 1 + 1 = 2. It is some kind of quantum mechanics. Oh God, what's happening? Kind of brain scratching answers that Team Spirit have.
Yeah,
up against.
I mean, I can show you on the map here. This is how the equation starts. So you got like pi squared 3, and then it does this, like this, because this is what happens, right? The moment one element of your team fight fails, you flop. Because the great thing about these big ultimates, like the Silencers Global or the Medusa's Stone Gaze, when they work, they're great. The moment they fail, not only did they just flop, your insurance policy is now gone for 2 minutes, for example.
Yep.
Right? It's always the big issue of why we see Enigmas rarely ever commit their black holes. They hold on to it because they're like, okay, the threat of me black holing you is just as dangerous as me actually black holing you. The problem with Silence, I always find, is it's kind of more of a all-in, right? Like, this is a threat of a Global Silence, but if they jump you, like, and you throw it out, it usually feels suboptimal. You're not this type of hero that can usually tank up and live long enough to hold your ult and make a big difference.
Yeah, and that's why I was suggesting the Storm, right? Because you have the Spirit Breaker to charge in, you have the Storm to follow, and then you have the Global as that blanket, the security blanket, right? It's not necessarily a reactive usage. It's more often better to use Global Silence preemptively or aggressively than it is defensively. And it's always felt that way. That's a talking point we've had about Silencer for the past 6 years. Like you mentioned, if Silencer gets jumped and uses it defensively, it feels poor. But if he is able to use it aggressively with his teammates making that first move in, which Team Spirit most certainly need to do this game, then it feels good and it feels powerful.
I guess the way to look at it is Spirit Breaker is the unlocker for Silencer, right? You need to be globaling as he charges in, and that's the only way you feel good about using your ultimate.
How has G lost half his HP mid lane already?
That should not be... Was he tanking the... I think he tanked the creep wave. I think Iceberg pulled it through to his side and forced like a tank on tank, but you're a melee. You don't care about that. You can just get tickled all day by that.
Yeah, he's got Stout Shield. He don't care. So lane setup, we've got Flow Mars against BZZ Earthshaker, 1v1 bot lane. Earthshaker should be able to farm really well down here with Enchant Totem, get some denies going as well. Flow might struggle a little bit early on, but it should be farm trade for the most part down there. Try v try top. I generally don't know who this favors because you've got Inkswell, Troll on one side. You've got easily spammable abilities and gap close on the Dire. But then you've got stuns and damage on the Radiant with the ability to disengage through that Spirit Breaker as well. The fact that Wraithkin and Spirit Breaker are very tanky, but they're also against double ranged heroes. So you've got this weird, balance on balance tightrope act going on. Wraith King securing CS with stuns. Beautifully done. Illidan, get in there, my son.
I mean, it's stick value though, right? That's why he's able to throw out the stuns, because I think the variable here that really matters for Team Spirit is always want to fly. Like, you're going to get all the stick charges you really ever need in this type of lane, as long as Velior just skirts this line here and keeps eyes on at all times. It sounds like an oversimplification, but this is why Shadow Demon usually feels like a rough hero to pick a lot of the time. Why he needed those big buffs is any hero that gives over a lot of charges in lane can usually lose you the lane, because those type of heroes aren't based off quick nuking people down. It's usually an attritional battle. Sticks make attritional battles very contradictive.
Iceberg is annihilating G mid lane, by the way. He has his bottle already out to him. G is running out of regen. If that torrent had landed, G potentially, honestly, could die there. Level 2 Tidebringer, it's no joke. I
mean, this is rough. Like, you just see the damage here. He's going to have to fall back. He has got a South coming out now, but you'll heal up. And the problem, this is always the issue with Kunkka. Is once he gets level 3 on... Oh, he's going in. X, torrent. Cleave through. Gets him low. Forces the use of the mana, which is what he wanted, because then they've traded evenly. And there's a regen room bot, so... Whoever sees that...
I mean, if Kunkka gets it for bottle refill, that's absolutely sickening. But 18-4 against 10-2, Kunkka is slaying that mid lane. Down bot, worth mentioning, BZZ is doing pretty damn well. 10-5, he was tripling up for a little bit on the CS of the Mars, but it looks like Flow has caught up with some good spear usage and should continue just being a farm trade down there as they battle out beyond between each other. So I think we keep our eyes up top, KP, because that is where the action should be occurring.
I don't know about that. I'm watching mid right now. Iceberg has noticed it. He has his regen rune, and any damage G just done is irrelevant. Meanwhile, top charge now coming in, as you were right. Ark had the Inkswell on him, stuns up Illidan for a moment. He's slowed down with the Willing Axe moving forward. Illidan should fall. He's got the stick to keep him alive a little bit longer. The poison is stacking up. One more hit will do it. Guess is wrong. Won't get the kill, and instead, always want to fly will be the first blood. And he's punished for his gluttony. Vanscore is getting slightly smarter. Charge in. Looking onto Ark right now. He has got the Willing Axes available, coming off cooldown, but he's taking way too much damage. The bash there as well. Illidan's thinking about going in, but he doesn't have the stun. On cooldown for 8 seconds. They'll keep Ark alive. They do have a salve. They've actually got 2 on the support, so he'll be fine.
And you can see how close that lane is, right? Exactly for the reasons I mentioned earlier on. Spirit Breaker and Wraith King tanky. The stick charges you mentioned really do upset the balance of this, but it's a knife's edge battle between these 2 ranged heroes, with the Troll able to spam out axes, chasing people down, getting lots of damage in, and now maybe they'll find some retribution.
Yep, they've got to make sure they don't get any stupider. So they get rid of Sansa first. This is always the risk, though. It almost feels like Sansa has to be ran in tri lanes, because if the hero ever gets overwhelmed, he feels bloody useless, right? It's just one of the easy heroes in the game to run down and kill off.
It's like we talk about Disruptor being very good aggressively, but very poor defensively. Silencer is in the same book, just amplified.
Absolutely.
He's very good when he's clicking people, but not so good when people are clicking him.
I mean, we saw it there, right? Spirit Breaker is like, okay, we'll just ignore him. We'll just steal the other support, because once he's charged, what does he actually do? If you outnumber, he does nothing. And there's a charge on the mid lane. Iceberg the target. He's close to 6, just shy of it, in fact. They decide to cancel it. They realize there's a risk that he gets 6 any moment. And if you screw up there, you potentially lose 2 heroes.
Yeah, he's 17 experience off. It's a creep off. And he's looking for a cheeky torrent. G doesn't have Quelling Blade yet, so Radiant side Medusa very often wants to... top lane. Ark always being charged.
He's in trouble. He's going to go down. +2.
Up to 4. 2 + 2. That's what numbers do.
All right.
So Medusa mid lane doesn't have Quelling Blade and can't access the medium camp easily just yet. Usually you want to try and clear mid wave, pull your normal wave out here so you can farm the medium camp at the same time as the next wave comes in. But Kunkka's playing on the Radiant ramp, right? You've seen where Iceberg is playing, and he's just standing kind of in that box on the enemy ramp for the most part, forcing the Medusa to stay in wave or play into his angle of attack, basically.
And he's always shoving it in, always keep that pressure. which means
Oh,
you'll
it's
never
bot
be able
rune
to actually
again.
get... Oh, there's a DD down here. Spirit Breaker is close on the mid lane.
Yeah,
Blow will
Spirit Breaker
spot
was
out.
camping top rune. He wanted to stop the Kunkka getting top rune. Mars will take it bot, though, it looks like.
Yeah, he's got his Soul Ring as well. Inkswell on the top, trying to chase down, but Illidan a little bit too fast and always want to fly us to back away. Taking a lot of damage there from Vanscore. Mars. Oh, he's surrounded. He won't realize it just yet. But he moves in with the arena. Looking on the G. He needs to push him up against the wall, but he fails to do so. And now, blowing a little bit of trouble. Torres coming out there. Pushes him back into the boat, which is coming through. Iceberg charging on in. Looking towards G. He's got no mana left to charge through on the flow. Backing up. Spear to push one away. Pin Spirit Breaker to the wall. BCC still chasing. He's got the Echo Slam to work with. If he gets a little bit closer. Like, come here, you. Charge through. We'll better slow him down enough. He doesn't even need the Echo Slam for this kill, really. If your Spirit Breaker blocks you, you do. And now he won't get anything. Well, you can't, even if you fissure, you haven't got phase boots. You're not going to close the distance. It's a wasted effort.
That's definitely a re. Why are there 4 heroes in the mid lane? Nice play by Flo. Gets the DD rune, and Iceberg has made the call that he's shoved Medusa out of lane, so they know. Or large camp to the south of the mid lane, farming away as Medusas do. You know, she's not going to be north in the triple camp near the Northern Shrine, because that's where the Wraith King should be. But bringing Wraith King, Spirit Breaker, Earthshaker in to defend the Medusa and not get any kills while top lane. Oh god, hello.
Charging in. They saw the supports farming, and they're going to punish them here, Slayer. Inkswell to protect himself. Wraithfire blast out. Stun comes out on the Spirit Breaker, trying to turn around. They know they're going to give +2 over. Always want to fly. Needs to back up, though. He's going to give another +2 at this rate. There it is. Vanscore with a double kill, and Iceberg. He's got a level 1X. He can't get close enough. His tiny legs can't run it off because he still doesn't have his phase boots.
Oh, diddums.
A little bit of an oopsie.
Small oopsie. Vanscore, hyper intelligent now, 200 IQ. 8 stolen intelligence. Feels good, man.
Proving that his IQ and his draft can just replicate itself into the game. You feel pretty good at the 8-minute mark to have 8 in stolen like this. You might be able to increase it soon. This is the beautiful thing. If you can actually apply the pressure with a Spirit Breaker like this is the prime time. This is prime Spirit Breaker real estate. First 10 minutes, find a few kills. And right now, 4-1 the score. He's definitely living up to expectations. Even if he did fluff up that kill on Mars in the bot.
Yeah, he most certainly has made things awkward, right? Troll is level 4, barely getting close to level 5. Wraith King's almost cracking 6 now, due to the Spirit Breaker making action happen top, keeping them pressured and uncomfortable, while also moving from lane to lane and not leeching experience. He's only he's barely level 3 on Spirit Breaker, but I think you'd rather have your Wraith King getting levels right now than your Spirit Breaker. It feels okay as Team Spirit, right? 4-1, 1k lead. Their Medusa hasn't fed, which is the most important thing. Now has the Quelling Blade to, like I was saying earlier, unlock that medium camp on the Radiant side of the map. But it's going to come down to vision at this point, because Radiant, they want to make sure that the rotations of Kunkka, Mars, Shadow Demon, and Grimstroke, who are going to start being active now, very likely will look to play towards bottom tier 1 in that classic little swing down into the Radiant safe lane to take an objective. But on their way, I think they'll look to maybe try and pick off mid lane, right? That normal transition will be to walk a couple of heroes down and then later TP the troll as they arrive on the lane. So you'll look for a pick off on the Medusa somewhere in the jungle. Maybe catch the silencer on your way through. But that's one perspective. That's what FTM likely want to look to do in the next 2 minutes. Look for that 10-minute catapult wave. Look for the 10-minute bounty runes. Whereas on the other side, Team Spirit, they're all about timings. They're all about the Radiance on the Wraith King. They're all about this Medusa getting up into her, Dragonlance, Yasha, whatever it might be. Lots of builds floating around on Medusas nowadays. And she will get a nice little Obs Ward, D Ward in the mid spot. But the fact that you're not bleeding out here as Team Spirit feels exceptionally good with the lineup you've got.
No, that's true. Iceberg could have went for a kill on a Spirit Breaker. Decides it's not worth it though. Wants to get back to the lane. Charge top. Looking on the arc. Illidan's waiting. Just needs to press one button. Charge in. Doesn't bother to press it, actually. Illidan, I think he forgot what was happening for a moment there. It's hard, right? When you're in a carry, you're in the zone. You're hitting creeps. You can't hear sounds around. It's a little bit muffled. You hear your teammate screaming, attack. And you just think he means creeps. You just think he's talking normally. I've been there. We've all been there. Slow, bot lane. Echo Slam actually forced out. And that was not the arena you were looking for. And Slayer, he needs to get out of dodge. They're charging through right now. Stop temporarily on the arena wall, but in the end, they'll move through. Slayer, the next target, they get a single bash. Try and actually block instead. Doesn't want to trust RNG. Want BCC to get close enough. And there it is, the bash. Chant turn follow-up. Tap him down, and Slayer will die.
That's huge. absolutely huge.
Oh, top.
Top lane.
They force the reincarnate out, but always want to fly. Oh, Vanscore's getting even smarter. The Fissure, just the tip, tickles him. They thought about stun up Iceberg. He's got the torrent coming off cooldown. Wants to turn around here. X is there. Looking on BCC, a prime target if they can find it. But nope. Brave Fire Blast just in time for Milladin. Stops the drag back. And the Spear will get the kill on the Vanscore, saying you're getting too smart for your own choose. But he did at least get that +2 from Always Want to Fly. His mana pool is getting ever smaller.
Let's see if they can get bounty runes. That's the most important thing. That's why these fights are happening right now. That's why they've moved heroes top. That's why they've set up for that kill bottom as the Radiant team, because they want bounty runes at 10 minutes. It looks like with Spirit Breaker down bot getting 1, potentially 2, it'll be
He will.
3 for 1.
Player won't be able to slow him down enough. 3 for 1 in favor of Team Spirit.
Spirit Breaker needs some face time with the creeps, though. Level 3, 10 minutes in, not acceptable. That is an unreasonably low level on your Spirit Breaker. He's got a tome coming, but he needs desperately to get to level 6 at this point. It was okay earlier on, him being level 2 at, 4, 5, 6 minutes. That's okay, but he needs to start cracking on with it now.
He just TP'd back and left Ilum behind. They know it as well. They're moving in. Looking forward. Wraith King in trouble. Reincarnates on cooldown. They're aware of this fully. They'll throw the axes through. He'll try and cut the trees, but the Willing Axis flips and kills him. BCC will complete the TP. Doesn't have Echo Slam for 40, though. They might try and make a play with the charge. The problem is you've got 2 supports behind this troll. I don't think you go for it.
He's not got Battle Trance.
No. They're not sure of this, though. Like, before you know he's taking the point. Like, logically, you don't want to take the point. You want more points in the Willing Axis so you can just accelerate your farm a little bit faster. It's the greedy Terrorblade notion, right? I don't want to have to level in Metamorphosis. The only thing it's good for is fight. And I want to farm.
Me no Sunder, me only meta.
Ironically, it was the meta. Sadly. He won't be back anytime soon. That Ags upgrade for Terrorblade is pretty terrible. Thank God. Some people wish it would come back, I know, but I'm not one of them.
No.
I remember Fog said he actually enjoyed the Kuala Lumpur meta. X, looking on Velion. Here comes the bow. He's in trouble. Torrent connects as well. No easy escape for him. The poisons are stacking up. And Always Want to Fly can easily get the kill. Wants to give it over to his Kunkka. Drags back. And actually Slayer snatches it at the end. Just the tip of his paintbrush.
But see how long that took. That took a solid 15, 16 seconds for your level 10 mid lane Kunkka, your 2 supports to kill off the position 20 Spirit Breaker who's still level 5. I mean, you've got a level 7 Silencer. Vanscore's the carry now. Valior has been relegated. So the ward purchase... No, it's not. Vanscore's buying the wards and Valior's being given them. Never mind.
I mean, Vanscore's really kind smoothly. Of... Let's be honest here. Vanscore's getting his stats through killing people. He doesn't need items. Guardian, looking on the flow. They don't have level 6, but they do have RNG on their side. Flow, just keeping Wraith King away. That's the important one. Nice.
And now they defend their shrine. So looking really smooth here for Team Spirit. Medusa nearly has the Yasha done. Earthshaker's what, halfway to Ags?
Yes.
Yeah, well over halfway to Ags now. So they're going to have these primary items incredibly quickly. Wraith King really is the only one that you're kind of wondering what he's heading to, because Illidan has gloves and 2k gold, but nothing spent.
I think he decided Midas is a bad idea. This looks like an armlet build-up. Global Silence. Smoke comes in the mid lane, but they can't follow it up. The Fissure might work against them, but in the end, actually Velior helps out the Kunkka, pushes him over, says, off you go. It's like freeing an injured bird in the wild. You give it a little tap, send it on its way. Iceberg has got the X. Torrent. Velior dragged back into it. Moving in right now. Flow has the arena. Throws it down just for a Spirit Breaker. Look at this. They're sidestepping it. Moving to Iceberg right now. Inks will try and get him away. They'll banish the Shaker. Keep him out of this. This is the problem with going for the Axe Rush, because you don't have the blink right now. The Fissure was decent, but you can't get close enough to the Echo Slam. Nice stroke. Slowing them down. Purge coming out. Slow the rest of the team even further. Make sure BCC cannot move. They're just cutting him out. They know the risks. They know if they step too close. And they are toying with BCC right now. He's so tanky.
Illidan is toying with them as much as they're toying with BZZ, though. You know, they're X-marking, torrenting, spamming on BZZ, and he's trapped down in the river. But the movement of Illidan there, not giving up the chase, not giving up the jig, pushing forward, even though it's only level 1 reincarnation, when they don't have global silence, still feeling incredibly powerful with a Medusa sat behind them. And you can feel the threat. FTM do not feel comfortable there. Yeah. The Mars Arena was off. I want to say that one was not an exceptionally good one, only catching the Spirit Breaker when he could maybe have had 3 inside. But it's a rough one to go for. You're fighting up high ground in towards tier 1 with an area in which a situation where, you know, a stone gaze or a nice echo slam could most certainly catch you off guard. But they're trying to unsettle their opponents. Line drawn across the map now by the troll. This is the line of defense. This is the kind of the Maginot line of the Dire team, right? Where they want to try and take Radiant jungle, defend their tier 2 top, don't let the Radiant get into their own Dire jungle and top shrine area, and it's the dance around the Roche pit for the most part for the next 10 minutes.
It's mostly the don't cross this line boundary, right? The one that you draw for me in our pub games, I ignore quite often. Flow, Arena, uh-oh. I mean, technically, he's just over the line, but a little bit over is too much over as Flow is left behind. These arenas have left a lot to be desired. He'll catch the rune and run on by. He doesn't have to die for it, at least. That's something. Torrent being held. Fan score getting pretty late. If they hit the Torrent, they would have got the kill. The Ink Spell onto the Illusion instead. Brave Fire Blast trying to slow it down, but it's too late. Silencer killed off by himself. Charge through. Does fine. Slayer on the side. Nice push with the spear. Straight towards Slayer. Not sure that was what he's after. And there's the bash. They were going to use Never Strike, but the boat coming through. Not in time. X draw back onto 1, but BCC still so damn tanky with this build-up into the Axims. All the while, this time around, Arc the one farming elsewhere, you know? Medusa and Arc, they're just trying... G and Arc are just trying to stay out of every fight. It's like, guys, you go do whatever you want. Me hit creeps.
Even Roshan came out of his pit to join that fight. What's all this noise out on my lawn? Gives a couple of hits.
It's CIS
Gives a couple
Dota,
of hits to the Radiant heroes, yeah.
He gets like this blood first come over and he's like, what's that? CIS team's playing? I better be involved in the fight.
I'll dive tier 4s.
Oh, Flow is the target. They get the tower and they might get more. Global Stance comes out. I'm not sure why though, considering there's no arena available. Just better safe than sorry. Flow. Oh my god, he's still alive. The foul hit. Velior activate Commando lunge range from Modern Warfare 2 and gets the kill. Oh, they got him low. Iceberg doesn't have vision though.
Arc Invis has Diffusal Blade as well. This is one of his real strong points right now. Before his BKB comes out, Control Diffusal Blade can rip people to shreds.
This is what we were waiting for.
Illidan top could easily solo die to the troll. Yeah. Oh, who's scanned? Dire scan. So they're looking for people behind. Yeah, Arc is going for a solo kill here.
Oh boy. He should be able to find it pretty easily. Moves straight in. Hello. And he even summons his babies to try and protect him. But it's too late, Illidan. Out of mana. He's out of time. Gonna get rooted up. And it looks like that should be an easy kill. Yep. Arc gets it.
Nice. Mid lane as well. They've transitioned in for a fight. AEW gone.
Can they get more though? They want to get more. But Flow has the arena. On to BCC. Uh-oh. Don't you just hate it when this happens in the wrong spot? But the boat coming in to control up Shaker, who is still stupidly tanky and refusing to die. Charge in, Iceberg. They'll actually cancel and move away. Velior needs to be careful because the X is coming out. A little cleave. A little cheeky move of the Inkswell. Moving in. Nice fissure coverage by BCC. So far on point, whether it's tanking or disruption coming out from the fissure. Oh, that spear. Beautifully done on Velior as he begins to charge. Allows Flow to move away and live.
I feel like Flow's having a few issues with these arenas now. That's the second or third one where there are 3 heroes in the vicinity. Like, you think of the Earthshaker positioning there, Flow's coming in, and there are 2 heroes in the river, which he could, you know, arena around. But he's choosing to arena single heroes, which I'm kind of confused at, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, it's definitely an improvement on him arenaing and dying, which happened the first time. So he's getting there. It's a ramp up, Gareth. You can't start at 10, okay?
Fair enough.
It's what people regularly tell me about my casting. I tend to ignore them, and Flow might too. So
you'll improve just fine, slowly, surely.
All right, this isn't the hare and the tortoise. Okay, this is Dota. In Dota CIS, I expect people to run at each other. And so far, Dota.
Bloody Dota.
Good old Dota. Don't. I've had that mocked about me. Americans are not very nice about accents.
What, dropping T's? I mean, they say butter instead of butter, right? So they can't say shit.
Don't get me started on aluminium. We should probably stop. Some of our viewers are going to be really annoyed as they think that's how it's said correctly. You're wrong. But, back to the game. There is going to start to be some pressure. You can already see that tier 1 gone. You can see the move from Team Spirit. They've done a really good job of making sure Wraith King spends most of his game up here. And on top of that, a really good job of keeping their towers up. Yes, they lost the bot tier 1, but that mid... while it's only still in there, it is still living. And just guess who's not? Slayer. The Axe is online. And this is the big problem I see for FlyToMoon, right? Is that you had all this time where BCC did not have an Axe. This is the vulnerability of going Axe rushes. You don't do anything for a long time. But because they always initiated on him, they got nothing done.
Yeah, now FTM very much in the waiting game for the Troll BKB. I don't feel like they want to be really actively looking for fights or objectives until they have Troll BKB, Blink Dagger on Mars. These timings should hit reasonably well synchronized, as well as the Kunkka BKB, honestly, after his armlet, he's heading straight into it. So they should have at least a very nice synchronized timing between the three cores in the next minute and a half or so, but they need to get there first. And you can see Team Spirit chomping at the bit to try and make that first move to get in onto this top lane.
Iceberg buy as much time as possible. Problem is, the Skelly Bros, they're back again. And you only have one boat. Oh, BZZ sniping around, won't find anything though. But they will find a tier 2 tower. Runes are up. They'll be able to secure 2, but FlyToMoon get 2 as well.
Yeah, waiting game. They don't defend top tier 2. We know how difficult it can be for the Dire team to defend top tier 2, Radiant team to defend bottom tier 2. Those are kind of the dead lanes that you don't want to be in. Very hard to make fights happen in your favor.
They might be able to now, though. Flo does have his Blink Dagger.
Yeah, so that's part one of the timing, right? Troll should have his BKB now pretty much done, or he's not too far away.
Yeah, he's a decent amount away.
900.
Kunkka is very close to his. He's just actually 30 gold off.
Yeah, so we're looking at maybe a minute. What's Troll's GPM? Like 500? 446? 450? Yeah, 445.
Yeah, it's a bit rough. He's definitely behind the Medusa by a decent margin.
So it might be still a minute and a half until Troll gets that BKB done. And if he's a lone bottom, technically. Flo is nearby. But if Troll gets gone on, he's dead. Like, BCZ could quite easily go and look for an initiator. Ark is bailing. He's out of there. Spidey sense are tingling.
It's very calm and collected at BCZ. You know, I would have just been enchant turning across the map by now, but he understands. Mana is his limitation right now. You can't actually spam too much right now.
Mana conservation, damn it.
I just want to spam out, you know? Once he gets his Yules, though, that's when this gets a little bit scary. So I feel like Blink's great, but if you've already got the Ags, Yules is probably better given Team Spirit's current scenario. But
you're the kind of person who's like, oh, I'm on 60% mana. I should buy Clarity. And then you bring the courier out just for your one Clarity.
Okay, done that once. Right?
And then your Medusa's like, why can't I get my butterfly to me? Where's my goddamn courier?
But if he buys 4 Clarities, this is more reasonable. Is your problem the quantity that I buy, Gareth, or is it something else?
Yes.
You know?
Everything. Quantity, quality, you know?
It's that moment you see this. Like, it'd be easier to list the things you've done right here.
You bought a Clarity. That's the one thing you've done right. Bringing it to you, Bringing it to you on the courier, Not so sure.
Oh, Slayer's shoving this in top of the way. He's got the Aether Lens on. So BKB, Aether Lens on Grimstroke, halfway towards the Yules. That's not going to happen anytime soon. But it does allow you to get that Soulbind, which links into a double X.
So now they have 2 ways of getting out of Global, right? The Troll and the Kunkka both have BKBs. Now it is down to whether or not Flo and Slayer. Like you're mentioning, Slayer, very important to get the initiation in. Flo has to get that Mars ulti down as quickly as possible as well. Silencer here shouldn't global, I don't think.
No,
they can't defend this.
They're going to get him. You can only global if you're alive. And he most definitely isn't. Doesn't have buyback either. So that's a tier 1 tower falling. But look at this movement. Team Spirit much quicker because the Skelly Bros are here. And they're here to stay. As they push in for a tier 2, they won't stop. And with Shaker nearby, I'm not sure if you can defend. They're TPing in Iceberg right now. They feel confident. They're left Troll behind. Interesting for Team Spirit to move away from that with Silencer up in 10 seconds, but they're being reserved. They realize they've got an advantage. They don't want to throw it away.
They have no tier 1 to TP to. Shrine's too far away, so if they wanted some kind of swing play, they want to be fighting at their Shrine, right? So they've made the strategic move to fall back to high ground to where they have vision with that one Raddy Observer wall looking over the rune. So it's a smart move just to fall back. You know you're not going to get the tier 2 tower, so pushing for the objective isn't efficient at all. So it's nice to see that really consolidated effort to all fall back together. No one TPs alone. Very often we see that kind of single TP to retreat, and then 2 people are kind of left, dangling without really any form of retreat. But they all fall back as a single unit. Now they regroup. Keep G farming away in the jungle as his butterfly is closing in very quickly. Can sell the Wraith Band and almost have it fully done.
It's good restraint as well, because you realize that actually FlyToMoon's lineup could take Roche if you lose the Shaker, right? Like, Shaker doesn't actually have a buyback. He's a decent way off it. If you lose him, he's dead for 40 seconds. With Mars tanking, Troll can just run through Roche. think that's the thing that FlyToMoon have to look towards next. They're going to actually push on the bot in the meantime. They want to force someone back. They realize Team Spirit have to be consolidating their efforts around this Roche pit. They're going to charge down now. They're scanning. Oh, the scan may be a little bit too early, though. They're not going to see any TPs. They'll come afterwards, and there it is in the tree line. TPing in right now. Disruption is out. Movement away. Felio losing half his HP instantly. He's like, all right, that was a mistake. I don't want to be part of that. Stun comes out to Troll. They're going to lose the Dev Strike. Bolt on the side, just charging on through, looking for a kill here. Always want to fly by in some time in the meantime. But BCC needs to get out. Chance time to get away. BKB, Iceberg moving forward. Global Silence is now used. Can they find anything here? They need to actually join up with both their sides. So they're a little bit split. Movement in. BCC has got the Fisher to work with, but BKB comes out. Arena from Mars. Blows finally on point. Keeps Medusa out of the fight. They turn around. Battle Trance there. Arc moving in. Stone Gaze working against him, though, with that Battle Trance. The Reincarnate being used. Illidan looking to fight once more. X try and drag G back. And actually bring it in with a Torrent. Nice cleave out. No mana left on G. Needs to retreat. Illidan get pretty low as well. Pinned up against the tree. He should fall. Armor won't keep him alive. They'll try and chase some more. Realize they can't, but what they could do now is they could look towards Roche. See if they want to, because Arc has gone top in time for the runes. It looks like they might just try and shove in the lanes, maybe take a tier 2.
So funny watching Shadow Demon disrupt a bulldoze Spirit Breaker with 70% status resistance. Oh yeah, disruption lasts how long? 2.75? No. Second. Immediately pops out the bubble, but nice usage by the BKBs there of the Dire team. Troll held on as long as he could. He tanked a Wraithfire Blast at the start just to try and extend the fight, while Iceberg was looking for the Earthshaker in the backline, forcing the Earthshaker to try and enchant Totem out, but also using the X-Mark to drag him back in. So the zoning Mars ulti, like you mentioned, kept Medusa off to the west, but also trapped 3 heroes to the east, in between the Mars ulti. Like, they weren't necessarily in the Mars ulti, but they were trapped between the Mars ulti and a hard place, which was the Kunkka's Torrent and Boat, which connected onto 2 people at the same time, really forcing the hand of Team Spirit to fully retreat. It just didn't work out for them, as that Wraith King, without Reincarnation, tried armlet toggling, just didn't have the sustain or the utilities behind him to keep him alive after that very early global from Silencer, it has to be said.
Indeed it does. Spirit Breaker charging in, sees always want to fly. You might see a little preview of what happens again with the push, but he doesn't want to throw it out. Stunned up for what seems like an eternity. Torrent connects on 2, Flow moves in. Here it is there, but he pins him up against the Fissure. That is not optimal for him. Boat coming through, but BCC will move out of it. Stuns one up. Wraith King getting pretty low. Sob on his side. W is going to be there. Vanskull moving across with Velior. They're coordinated. They're together. And Flow is all alone. He's been left behind. He says, your arena wasn't exactly what I was looking for, guys. I'll tank the death. No other choice.
Now we see the flip side of the coin. Dire team get the initiation bottom around their vision. They get the much nicer spread team fight where they're able to play multiple angles as FTM, keeping themselves quite nicely angled into the battle. Whereas this time around, Earthshaker finally opens up. He gets into 5th gear. He's bouncing around, finding pickoff after pickoff, target after target, and he forces FTM to fully retreat as Troll's BKB did get expended, now down to 8 seconds along with Kunkka's 9-second BKB. But it's Roshan that opens up for Team Spirit now. It's the more important fight. It's the more important pickoff. And it's definitely the more important objective.
You know, we sit here, we joke a little bit about Mars. You know, we say he has these kind of suboptimal ultimates. I say kind of. They a lot of them are suboptimal, but you have to look at the whole picture, right? Like there's so much he has to do with these arenas. He has to catch certain people and keep others at bay. We saw a decent one where all he done is impale G, right, and kept him out of the fight. Because that's the biggest threat for Arc, is we mentioned that volatile matchup between the Medusa and the Troll earlier, right? And while Troll can do a lot with this diffusal, if you get that Stone Gaze off and he's battle tranced, his fight is over, all right? His watch is done. He will die. And I just feel like there's so much Flow has to do, and what we're seeing a lot of the time is an inability to do so. And it seems, I feel like we need to give more credit to Team Spirit because of the areas they're forcing these fights in. It's very hard for him to get a good arena down, as we just saw.
Yeah. Exactly, especially that one there. Like they're moving into the Dire Northern Shrine to take control of Roshan. They don't want to push top lane because tier 2's already gone, but it gives them the option to go mid tier 2 if they want to. Team Spirit taking the more strategic, intelligent fights in the correct places. You know, bottom lane was an intelligent place to take a fight, and it worked out for the Dire team. They just couldn't get that full win to be able to take an objective, the tier 3 down there, because defender's advantage. They're fighting into the Radiant side of the map, whereas Roshan, much easier for Spirit to claim for themselves. And now with Aegis on the Medusa, Butterfly Manta done, I don't see who FTM can actually put head-to-head and go toe-to-toe with the Medusa.
Well,
He's level 20.
they might be forced to find out who they can go toe-to-toe with. You can already actually see a break up from the smoke. This is the confidence they have right now. Team Spirit are pretty split, just looking for anyone, because they realize FlyToMoon, they kind of missed their window to fight. They need to buy time now. You need to buy a lot of it. They're going towards the MKB next. Troll. Still a little bit off. Almost has it. 25 goals short. There we go.
I think time is okay for both teams.
Yeah.
I think item progression-wise, it's fine. I think they both scale reasonably into the kind of mid to late game. I just looked at net worth and I realized Grimstroke's ahead of the Mars. I didn't see that one.
Moving in. Balcons. Wraith King. No mana. No life. Nice move there. They patiently waited out. They even BKB to ensure there was no interruption.
Nice.
They need to get Mars out, though. That might be obvious he's on his own, but he wants the runes.
Yeah. So I feel like whoever gets the initial jump onto the key targets is really in the more favorable position, no matter where the fight is and what team fight is happening. But it matters who the target is as well. It's not just get the jump and win the fight. It's get the jump on the correct player, on the correct hero, and then win the fight. So you're looking towards FTM jumping, the Earthshaker or the Silencer as their primary objectives. Whereas Team Spirit, I feel like they want to really just try and get the Mars ulti down onto, try and force the Mars ulti onto the Deucer. She stone gazes and wastes the BKBs of the Troll and the Kunkka. And that's the primary goal of Team Spirit, is to get Earthshaker in onto the Shadow Demon or the Grimstroke, force, a Soulbind from them. And then the rest of your team focuses down, mid.
They're going in. Icebug's been spotted. BKB gets forced out, but he is bashed up. They've got the Never Strike to work with. Boats coming through. Already down to half HP. Guardy slowing him down. There's the bash. Never Strike to hit him back. And I don't know if Icebug's going home, but anything but a Casca. He's gone. Oh, they're not done, though. They're charging. This is how Spirit Breakers like to play the game. Why stop when you can keep running? They read it
he might
correctly,
catch SD. Oh,
no, he decides to get
No, so he's charging to Grimstroke, right? But the angle he was going at, if he continued forward to the Dire bottom shrine, he could have hit the SD on his line through.
Well, instead, they'll just push on the top. SD would be a nice kill to find, but right now they just want to try and force FlyToMoon to come back. You can already see it. Mars is backing up, will TP away, and Arc is reluctant to show. He wants to go for the trade, but now that you're not pressuring two lanes, you realize that Team Spirit can respond on one side with force. And they've already got Spirit Breaker right close nearby. He knows about this. They're tricking him. They're tricking him right now. Shaker's coming back. They forced out the glyph. They can go back for Arc right now. Charge. Moving on to him. He's got the BKB. Gets out in time. They'll try and bash him up. They need a hit, but Velia with a missed chance on him doesn't get any luck.
And 20 seconds for another strike. Now the chase on mid.
Exactly. They've left people behind. BKB and Flow just pins one against the wall. Silencer can't get his global out. Instead dies. And now G, his damage being tanked up as Flow watches him. Stone Gaze comes out. Flow realizes he has to retreat. There's a disruption to cover their escape. Charge through and always want to fly. This time, this Spirit Breaker will commit. Jump straight in. Yules comes down. I'm not sure what he was hoping to do, but this wasn't the outcome he was looking for as he does go down.
And Arc gets the kill there.
At least this Medusa got away, though. I guess that's his notion. Is like, I'm worried. They might jump forward. They might look for a little bit more. I'll give my life for the cause. But as you said, money on Arc. Land would catch up because he's the one who's starting to fall behind. He is going towards that Blink Dagger next.
Yeah. Again, it comes back to my point about the jump, right? They desperately need, whichever team, both teams need that desperate jump to catch the backliners. That's why the Troll, with his diminishing BKB now, of course, we have to remember in that entire trade with the fight bot and the fight mid, Troll did expend another BKB charge and is down to 6-second duration now. Arc most certainly needs to get that jump, though, whether it be onto the Medusa after Stone Gaze ends. He goes in, baits the Stone Gaze, goes out, and then jumps back in with a Blink BKB, or if it's to get the Silencer, if they have vision on him.
Speaking to Blink, still in, blinking forward. Looking forward here, BKB comes out straight away. He isn't going to hesitate and always want to fly. Just wants an easy pick off and he'll find it. Pursuing, looking for more. They won't scout for Arc. The pings are coming out. He needs to back up. Oh, just in time. They're still hunting, actually. But they'll decide against it. They'll fall back. They realize, no, don't make an aggressive play. Roche might respawn in just 2 minutes. We are getting to that stage where one slip up, we could be out of the Roche fight.
This Grimstroke's so farmed, man.
It's
90 GPM talent.
Yeah,
like,
GPM talent's balanced, Gareth. I love that part about Dota. It's not been a part that I've been concerned about for a long time now. It is insane, right? Like, I feel like the GPM talents introduced kind of a cast of support heroes that were better than others.
Flow?
Jumping in.
Top lane here.
He gets caught out. BCC was scouting around, forcing out the BKB, but he's still bashed up. Never strike to hit him back. Global Silence as well. Can't throw down his Arena. BKB's running out. Silencer does die for it, though. Now the ping's coming out. Arena goes down. The side group stroke kept away from the fight with the Fissure. Boat coming through. Connect on a one. Illidan dragged back. Stunned up with the Spirit Breaker as well. They'll burn through him. Illidan, though, is going to be close. He should have enough mana here. Toggles off just to make sure. There's the Reincarnate. Troll turned around, got hit by the Stone Gaze. The follow-up stun's going to be there. BKB charging in. Illidan looking for the kill here. And the damage going on. Echo Slam as well. Will bring him down. Troll dead for 75 seconds moving in. The stun's on the flow. Has to turn and face up against G. The moment he turns around to run away is the last, though, as he goes down on Iceberg. Being pursued. BKB's ran out. Moving in. Soulbind doesn't connect on Illidan. Yule's there to buy some time to allow Kuka to move away. Iceberg will live. Disruption was on the 2. Brings them out. That's a lot of spooky illusions right there. Trying to move away, clean them up. We'll be able to do so, but not before Always Want to Fly dies. No jump in. Stun comes out. Slayer, what are you doing? That is not the high ground. That is not safe. You will go down. And look at that. A convenient creep wave in time for them to hit the tower.
Yeah, the Troll couldn't get onto the Medusa. They needed the Troll to really focus down onto G. Illidan blinks forward.
Illidan's going aggressive. And they've got the boat buff on him, but how long can you last? Iceberg needs to move away. Nice defensive disruption to buy a little bit of time. They could force us up, though. The Reincarnate to slow down Iceberg can set up an enchant term as they move in. This buff's going to run out soon. Kunkka starting to melt very quickly
Down
here.
he goes.
See you later, buddy.
Davy Jones' locker awaits you.
He'll stay there for a long time. 80 seconds till it's up. If this was a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, he would have just missed one full movie. Always Want to Fly.
Where's the run gone?
Next. Never Strike being held on to here. They don't need it. BKB from Illidan to make sure he's not interrupting the flow. Just sitting in the back, shrugging, going, guys, I need more teammates. I can't do anything on my own.
Yeah, FTM, their time's run out. Their BKBs have run out. Everything's run out. They found a silence at the start of the fight and forced a very early global blink effectively to get that pick off, but that meant he was late to the fight. The actual fight was happening much further north, where the Medusa, the Wraith King, they were setting up for this reincarnation slow into Stone Gaze, into charge through, everything just lining up perfectly, puzzle piece after puzzle piece slotting into place, and Team Spirit, they're hitting this timing with gusto. 36 minutes in, G, he's 3-0-9 on this Medusa.
Jump in, Global Stance comes out, G out of mana, but they
Sick
can't
Fissure.
reach him properly. The Fissure on point. They're going to push him back in now, but he stands his ground and holds. Jump in, Stun's going to come out, Troll Ward, Echo Slam is done! Charge through onto Mars, they want to end this here and now, and it looks like Team Spirit have taken the game. Call it indeed, Slayer. I mean, Grimstroke strong. Oh, gee, what? It goes down, it won't change much. Slayer's very happy with himself, a small smile on his face, as he just sticks up his middle finger and fades into the ground as they're looking to dive in. They won't do so. Soulbind linking them together. Illidan's still alive, able to move away. But this looks cut and dry. Even without Medusa, they could look for more. Just hit onto the buildings. Instead, they're going to bide their time. They say, okay, you've done it. Grimstroke clutching a hold from the jaws of defeat here. But he might pay a price now. He came out. He was looking for something, maybe some runes, maybe some wards. He won't get anything. Instead, he'll just give gold over. So Illidan's BKB'd up. We'll get the kill, blink away. X going to come out onto BCZ. Fine, all the time for Always Want to Fly to arrive. They force the BKB out, and Shaker will TP away alive.
2 full lanes of barracks off a couple of really sick team fights. That Fissure in the mid lane actually blocking the Medusa away from the 2 initiators of FTM. BCZ allowed G to survive another 10 seconds there, which really he had no purpose doing so. Still dead for 40 seconds, G, but he'll respawn full of life and vigor and ready to bottom tier 2 into tier 3, of course, after Roshan has been taken. Ooh, FTM, are you really going to go for a tasty Roshan sneak here? You've gone into the pit.
You've got a level 20 talent. He didn't actually take the damage either. He took the evasion on Troll. Not something we see too often. They're being slowed down. They need to be careful. Echo Slam on cooldown for 15 seconds. I don't know if they do this quick enough, Gareth. Charge coming in. On to Always Want to Fly. And they'll stun him up. Jump in with the enchant term. Follow up with Illidan. Stun it up on the Troll Wall. BKB goes through. The arena down. Look at Sansa going to get him low. Has no global stance to work with the boat through as well. Stunning them up right now. Sansa can't escape. BCC will. One dead.
They have an Echo
right now.
still.
There it is. Jumping in right now. Echo is available, but he doesn't want to throw it out onto Troll Wall, who has the battle trance activate. Illidan moving in. Wants to force his reincarnate to be popped. It will. Buyback comes out from the Spirit Ring. Wants to charge forward on this arc. Going to be protected, but Always Want to Fly gives his life for this. And there's no easy escape. Echo Slam perfectly timed. Troll Wall is dead. No chance to get himself a second life. And no way back into this game. This is 150 gold short of buyback. This might be the decisive moment.
G respawned, came back into the mid lane, walked into the back of the fight, found a couple of very low HP easy pickoffs, and I think now FTM realizing dead for 70. No real way to contest Roshan. This is Aegis in the hands of the Medusa, And Spirit Breaker with BZZ's Earthshaker, they're chasing people into tier 4s.
They were getting tempted right there, because you know if you bring down Flo, the game is done. He has no way back into the fight. Just 50 gold shy. He needs to make sure he stays alive until he has that buyback available. They can't go for Megas. They need to go for Throne. And Team Spirit is going to do exactly that. No Echo Slam for 60 seconds. There is a window to get Troll back up, but you have to buy time. And
They have Assault
sure
Cuirass on Illidan. They have MKB, Butter, Skadi, Manta on G's Medusa. It doesn't feel like there's a way to stop this. 29 seconds for Troll.
You're going to have to go in before 15 seconds till it's up. And instead, the other one's to go in. Always want to fly, going to go down. Qualifiers there. BKB comes out. Flo. He gets smashed up, though. He can't throw down the arena quick enough. He'll finally pin Medusa up against the wall, but the Stone Gaze came out first. Grimstroke on the side. Going to go down. 8 seconds dead. BKB still running. Means they can't fight up against his charge through. Belial ignoring Flo. Looking straight onto Iceberg to stun him up, control him up. And now they'll turn and converge on the final member. Buyback comes out from Mars. Right. Iceberg stunned up by the Ray Fire Blast. Speeded by a little bit of time, but it's too late. He's dead. 9 seconds on the sideline. Troll is alive now, but you're thrown exposed. GG comes out. They know it's all over. As Team
still
Spirit
has Aegis.
Yep, never gave it up. Never surrendered. We wondered if this would be punished. We said in the draft, Gareth, Team Spirit, did they have the aggression coming out lanes? No, it wasn't in their favor. Could they do enough? And it feels like the story of this game was Shaker. People are like, what? What you're about, Pigeon? Medusa won the game. Medusa done everything. You know, there was some good charges. Illidan was really in there. But BCC, literally by not dying for the first 20 minutes, ruined FlyToMoon.
And you think back on it, that mid lane, Kunkka put so much pressure on the Medusa, but FTM never had heroes to go and make plays. The Mars missing a couple of ultis definitely fed into that a little bit, but Troll needing to farm, Kunkka not really being active in that 10 to 20 minute period because he was farming into BKB. They were on the back foot and they kind of slipped down that chasm of always reacting to what their opponents were doing. They never made that aggressive move into the jungle to hunt the Medusa because they never felt they had enough damage to go and find the kill on her. So they just kind of sat back, tried to itemize. It looked okay in the mid game where both teams were kind of scaling reasonably well. Then Team Spirit just hit their stride, reached critical mass on that Dusa, waltzed down a couple of lanes and say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Yeah, don't mind if we do. Push your high ground. And FTM realized very, very quickly that once their BKBs are down, they actually don't have sustain. They are very much a one-and-done team fight. Soulbind, Disrupt, X-Mark, Torrent, Boat, BKB, press your buttons. When that's all expired, when that's all done and dusted, what do you have left? Nothing. What does Team Spirit have left? They've got a Medusa. They've got a Wraith King with 2 lives. The amount of actual... we think about sustain as healing more often than not, right? Mech, Urn, Pipe, that kind of sustain. But you have to think about Mana Shield, about Reincarnation, about the reinitiation possibilities of Earthshaker and Spirit Breaker, the sustained continuation of damage output, of pressure, of maneuverability. These are also forms of sustain in team fights. And Team Spirit had tons of it.
Absolutely. I think something that's not talked about enough is HP as a resource, right?
Yes, exactly.
And you look at this like, yeah, you got your boat buff and you can heal up on the Troll Warlord, but as you said, the sustain, it's the fact that Team Spirit, they go down, they come back up again. Wraith King obviously reincarnates. Medusa has that second amount of life to work with because of the shield. And as you mentioned, very lightly, Spirit Breaker, just, I'm dead, I'll buy back, I'll charge across map, I'll be there in a moment. Don't worry, guys. Even if Silencer dies, he's expended his HP as a resource, but if he has buyback, he still has his global, he still has an impact from anywhere on the map. And that was the story of the game. You can see the pressure that FlyToMoon were under. They needed to make plays, but it was always on BCC. And as a result, not getting that kill. Like, if they get the kill, great. I think this is a totally different game if they keep killing BCC, right? Because he doesn't get an axe quick enough. He feels like he's lagged behind. They invade, they take a few towers, and Medusa has nowhere to farm. But in the end, maybe the story of the game is poor target acquisition from FlyToMoon.
It was a rough one regardless, I think. All of the targets are difficult for them outside of Silencer. Spirit Breaker has Bulldoze Charge as kind of, escape mechanisms, you might want to say. Wraith King has 2 lives, Medusa has Mana Shield, Stone Gaze, Earthshaker has Fisher and Chant Echo Slam as ways to either mitigate initiation or turn around a team fight and basically put it back on his terms. So it was just a really nice draft from Team Spirit, covering a lot of their bases, which weren't fully obvious to begin with.
Well, as a result, Team Spirit take a win. They need to start getting a few of those on the board, and they have. But up next, we've got an interesting one. We've got the people who kind of, bludgeoned the face of Team Spirit in earlier today. versus the favorites. That's right. We've got Team Empire versus Gambit Esports up next. This should be quite an exciting match. I'd say these two probably the favorites right now. I think that'd be fair to say, right, Gareth? Definitely two of the favorites.
Yeah, I think so.
So, you want to see that? We want to see it too. Short break, then we'll be back with that game. Plenty to look forward to. Just hang around.